Yo, yo, yo. You already know what it is. It's your favorite fantasy football homeboys in the building. You already know. Your favorite people, your favorite tag team in the building. Johnny, say what's up to the great people.
Oh, what's up? What's up? What's up? Ready to get to the Sunday night football game. That's what's up.
You've
Got a
been
dirty
itching.
camera here. Well, I don't know if I would say itching is the phrase,
Itching.
man. I've been COVIDed laying down here, man. Been stuck in this room, hanging out, bro. Like sleep,
More,
fading
bro.
in and
Bone
out,
broth. Bone broth, bro. Bone broth.
fading in and out, man, of the COVIDs, man. The 1 o'clocks was kind of whatever,
Yeah.
second
You told
half
me to
kind of
take a nap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
second half kind of got back to it, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, just misery over here, bro. Misery. But nonetheless, though, man, the only thing that can make this better is a Pittsburgh Steeler win here tonight. So
He's holding his breath, folks.
that's all I can do.
Really. We'll break down how things have shaped out in terms of the playoffs. As you know, we'll get down to that. We'll break down the games real quick, starting with the 1 o'clock window, and that will be the Texans holding off the Colts. In terms of how that all went down, yeah, crazy work because CJ Stroud they played the second half and cost me like a lot of my bets. Thanks a lot, CJ Stroud. You're the man. Riley Leonard, former Duke, former Notre Dame guy, came out to ball today. Alec Pierce even balled out today, even under ref that caused him to get ejected. Like week 18,
Yeah.
bro. Week 18. But officially, along with this headline, along with Trevor, Thrashers, the Titans, you're looking at the Jaguars as the 3 seed and overall the AFC South division winner. Nothing more really to talk about other than, again, like Trevor Lawrence consistently staying hot. And thanks for helping me with my player props today. Anything to add between all 4 of these teams in AFC South?
Riley Leonard, like I wouldn't get like too excited about that. I've seen some people online talking about how
No. Who?
felt
Calling these
felt
people
like
out.
just said it felt like crazy work having him out there over Philip Rivers, but notably like there's a couple of guys that have had some week 18 performances that people have thought should have been more. Desmond Ritter's one guy, Marcus Mariota's a guy 2 years ago.
Yep.
Then you can go back to Joe Milton. If you really, 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 really want to go back, you can go back to Matt Flynn. So I just think like this is just
he's definitely someone that because of that got paid.
Yeah, it's just the circumstances, right? The Titans looked like they were going to come out and give Jacksonville a fight before the Cam Ward injury. Tony Pollard did not hit his number for payday at
It was
all.
what,
So that's
15 yards short or something like that.
yeah. So he did not hit his number in that space. Yeah, man. Definitely the Colts. Shout out to them though, man. Like I think one of the things like I took away just from this game and just from them this season is they're definitely a lot closer than they are further away, for sure. Given Daniel Jones, obviously we know what he was able to do for him, but they even still play tough with Phil Rivers, and even today, even with Riley Leonard, they still play tough. So, shout out to the Colts, man, for playing tough throughout all that stuff. But the Texans were able to keep that one. To keep that one under wraps, man, for sure. And shout out to the AFC South champs, man, Jacksonville Jaguars. So, crazy work, man, crazy work.
Yep. And then we move on because your favorite person, Myles Garrett, gets the record for a single season sack record. And the Browns had get the upset against the Bengals. Thought that 7.5 was definitely something you could have done, but yeah, look, Browns got it done. Cincy, looking like Cincy, Jameer got his, Chase Brown got his, but ultimately, Cincy, as we talked about them before, it's like, Cincinnati, all they need is a solid defense for Joe Burrow. Like, I'm not sure what's going to happen with Zach Taylor. There's like rumblings that he could be out, but I think there was also some things I saw from the players specifically that they were good with Zach Taylor. So is that all? Is that like the overall notion going on with Cincy? Is that like they just need a defense? Is that all it really is?
I mean, I can't imagine anything past that. I mean, I think that's what it's got to be. Is like they definitely need a defense. He's an offensive minded guy. So you have an offensive minded coach. There's no negativity. The guys are still playing. They're still out on the field. Week 18, still competing. I think obviously now, I think I was just looking the Browns. I mean, excuse me, the Bengals have a top 10 pick at this point. Like there's really like nothing else other than defense that they're going. So I think there's that. I think, we talked about a guy like Brian Flores this morning as far as like his potential availability. I think, you could look at getting a guy like that. But yeah, like ultimately, like that's where it's got to be, man, is it's got to be on the defensive side of the ball for sure. Myles Garrett, like it looked like a work job there with him and Joe Burrow and that sack there. But whatever, you know what I mean? Like Myles Garrett, he gets the record. Cool, whatever. Um, yeah, like this game really, yeah, it was what it was. So I mean, I think I'll be interested to see how things shake out again. I think we all will be with Cincinnati. I think obviously like a lot of their skill players, like when you look at things just like, from the fantasy side of the world, a lot doesn't really change for any of those guys. I think you should probably still see a lot of those guys being drafted right around the same spot that they were drafted in this year. So, yeah. And Kevin Stefanski, like I think, if there's anybody that's getting a raw deal out of this, I think it is him because it fit like the Browns are just you talk about two franchises that are just terrible for making just terrible decisions all across the board. Like the only reason why the Bengals are in the situation that they're in is just because sheer luck. Like they happen to be incredibly crappy. During the time that they needed, these type of players. I mean, you can even go back to like the Carson Palmer and Chad Ochocinco days, right? Like we've seen this before where they've had,
TJ, who's your mama?
Yeah, we've seen it. Like they've had, potent offenses before, and just, it's just been what it's been. So this is no different for me. The Browns, like they just do bonehead things. I think there was a moment in time where Deshaun Watson, like, yeah, like it made sense. But also too, like you also had somebody in the building in Baker Mayfield, who's not going to the playoffs, but you had him there in the building to be able to help win games. And, you think you're upgrading, and obviously it was a fluke injury, right, that happened to him. But yeah, just bad decision making all the way across the board. And I hope they do let Stefanski go because I think he's a really good coach. And if they do, then, I'm pretty sure obviously somebody will pick him up and, be happy to have him on their coaching staff for sure. So
totally. Yep. Everything you said, agree with. Giants double up on the Cowgirls. Yep, not too surprising. Pretty much Dak played the first half, and that was pretty much it. But the Giants look really solid. Jackson Dart out there, obviously, capping off the end of the season. And that's pretty much that. Like, I think the Giants still, because of the win, I think they go from the 2 to like what, the 6th overall pick, I think now, something like that.
Yeah. I don't have the actual draft picks, NFL draft board updated. Yeah. No, well, Jaden Blue, man. He obviously, man, he looked pretty good today.
Game time, week 18, right? Week 18.
Yeah.
Until week 18. But Javonte Williams been looking good all year, so.
Yeah, I mean 64 yards, 64 yards on the ground for him today. So like obviously like that looked good. Um, yeah, man, Jackson Dart, like he's still like obviously him still being out there hanging. And then what about Tyrone Tracy, man? Like I know it's a meaningless game, I should say, or excuse me, I heard them say it on the commentator. I heard him say a game without playoff implications is the correct phrasing, they would say. But yeah, like he's been playing pretty good, man. He's played pretty well over the last handful of weeks. Tyrone Tracy has, so looks like the Giants might have something going to build off of. Obviously, if and when Malik Neighbors does come back, for that team. That should be obviously give them a huge boost for sure. Theo Johnson, I don't know if you've seen that story with him, being sick, but then being at the Knicks game or something like that right there. And then, you got Wandale Robinson. So, I mean, like the pieces are in place, man. And like defensively, like they're still, like I even thought for a lot of the season, like, yeah, like they gave up points and stuff for sure. But I thought their defensive line and that pass rush is still pretty good. So, I'm optimistic about where the Giants are at for sure. And I think like in a situation like this right here, where you end up playing like a lot of backup players, makes sense for especially for the Cowboys, man, for sure. With playing twos on defense and offense, makes sense for the Giants still to kind of be playing their starters for them to be able to sneak out a win here, or double up a win, I should say.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. Definitely whatever all the we just said makes sense. Neighbors, obviously, hopefully more healthier next year. And then my question for you would have been, like, there's a lot of rumors about Mike McCarthy. Like, does he come and get this head coaching position? If Stefanski it gets released, like, is he definitely a candidate for this? Like, very interesting. Giants.
For the Giants?
Yeah.
I mean, I could see that. Like, I could see that. Like, I could see McCarthy being there for the Giants. I mean, that would make sense. I don't know what direction they would want to. I mean, I feel like they would want to go in a direction, like, at least for me, it would make sense for them to go. Who?
Younger?
I wasn't going to say necessarily younger. I was just going to say like an offensive guy. Like, it just would make sense for them to go with an offensive guy. Like, I think. And then like defensively, like I think like you can bring a higher end coordinator in on the defensive side of the ball. At least I feel like with what they've got there, they're not that far away. Like, I really truly don't feel like they are. Like, I think this division next year is going to be it's going to be crazy good, because the Commanders are projected to be picking inside the top 10. The Giants are projected to be picking inside the top 10. And now like all four of these teams have some hope at quarterback. I think obviously the Giants, Jackson Dart, we don't know. Like, we've seen the flashes, but we know what it is with Jane Daniels. We know what it is with Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott. So I think this division next year, just already like right now, it's going to be very, very exciting with four established or four potential franchise quarterbacks, three for sure, and then two of these teams picking in the top 10. And then obviously what happens, from the coaching carousel. But I think New York is definitely a desired place for a lot of different reasons outside of the players. It's New York, but the players definitely make it very, very, very enticing for sure, given their situation. I don't even know if the Giants, I'd have to look to see, but I'm not even sure if they even have a first round pick last year, because I felt like they made a trade to go get Jackson Dart.
Possible too.
I felt like they made a trade to go get Jackson Dart, or either they might have had two picks and just traded down. That might have been the case, but obviously them getting Abdul Carter and him last year. So.
The Giants would be right now, they're fifth right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, again, like them and Washington both are inside the top 10, so it makes sense. So they do have a first rounder for next year. So they must have just traded down last year.
Yeah, because remember Dart was still a very late first round pick, so I don't think they gave I gotta go back to the trade detail, but they probably should still have a first round pick. But either way, the Cowgirls, Cowgirls. Defense has to improve now. I'm sure they're looking for a cornerback now.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of all that is to it. Like, not much else really to say. Pretty much had your first half starters, and that was pretty much it. They didn't do much. So whatever. Big one. Atlanta holding it down for Carolina. The NFC South, right? The NFC South. Yeah. Can we just it's just like the NFC West from like several years back. It's like, can we just burn this division? Can we think about changing the rule? 19-17 victory for the Falcons. In a game that was pretty decent overall, but not if you had Bijan Robinson props. Look,
yeah.
Drake London all of a sudden knows how to play football again. 4 catches, 78 yards, touchdown. Yeah. What a way to end the season, because Carolina gets in, even though they lost yesterday. The Bucs are officially out of the playoffs. So what do you have to say about the AFC South as a whole?
Well, the NFC South. Well, the one thing is definitely interesting. Like for me, is you get a rematch. I think at this point, Carolina and the Rams. You get a rematch of that game in Carolina. As Carolina stunned the Rams a little bit earlier in the season, or around week 12, I think it was that they stunned them. So a revenge game in that space. So I'll be pretty interested to see what happens there. And then you look at everything else, man. Like obviously you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like they've obviously got some work to do on the defensive side of the ball for sure. Like I said it, I think I said it last night, but they're essentially in the same boat, in my opinion, as the Cincinnati Bengals defensively. They leave a lot to be desired on the defensive side of the ball for sure. Offensively, I don't think they really have to make any type of changes or anything like that right there. I really feel like that injury that happened with Baker Mayfield, I feel like it was definitely more impactful than was to be led on for sure. Because seems like after that injury, like his play just really just spiraled. Um, and then like what do you do with guys like Chris Godwin? What do you do with guys like guys like Mike Evans, right? Like Mike Evans is on the back line. Chris Godwin really looked like a shell of himself this season. So it's I think that's really the most interesting thing. And then you know, um, Tampa Bay does like they don't have a true running back. So like I'm curious to see what they do in that space. Like if they go try to address it, obviously through the draft or through free agency. I don't know what that's going to look like for them on that side of the ball. But defensively, like they definitely got to do some things. Atlanta's got to figure out their quarterback situation. I think like that if I'm looking at any team in this division that's the arrow is pointing up, I think it's Atlanta. And I know we've been saying that for like the last 2 years. Obviously, one of the things pending is Kyle Pitts. That's one of the things that's
Michael
pending.
Penix too. Like, what do you do with
Yeah,
that? What do you do with
yeah,
that? What do you
right,
do with
right.
that?
Yeah. Well, like I said, man, it's quarterback pending, man. Like they got to figure out their quarterback situation. But one of the things that's
Who do
always
you need?
lovely is when you have, when you do have one of the best running backs in football, like the Indianapolis Colts just showed you. All you have to do, man, is you have to have if you have a decent offensive line and a serviceable quarterback,
Yep.
you can put yourself in a good position. And defensively, like they're pretty tough. New Orleans, I think same thing. Like what do you do with Alvin Kamara? Looks like I'm not gonna say he played his last game as a Saint, but like it's hard to see him in the future for them. So I think there's definitely a lot of different narratives, man. I think like obviously we can get into and talk about like at some other time, but like the South as a whole, uh, you know, the South will rise again here at some point in time in that division. But Carolina, congratulations to them. Congratulations to Bryce Young. You know, for being able to get in because somebody had to get in, and all the teams that we all loved and thought like there's a reoccurring narrative here, man. It's the same thing with the AFC South, like right, like we didn't have Jacksonville was like the early sexy pick, and then it went to Indianapolis, and then it kind of the Texans were the early pick. There was a lot, man. So I think some of these teams that we didn't have pegged actually got there, man. But Atlanta today, New Orleans did a really good job against Bijan for sure, as you mentioned. Tyler Shuck, he had them right where they needed to be at, and the turnover there in the fourth quarter, like that was the game changer right there, man, for sure. But I think again, man, the future's bright for him. The future's bright for the Saints as well. And Kellen Moore, man, shout out to him because I think that was the other thing too. Is like we didn't know how he was going to be as a head coach. He showed, man, like he's definitely in his bag and he's got what it takes for sure.
Yep. 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 NFC South. I mean, look, it's what do you do with all the Bucks pieces, like you said, the older pieces of this team? Does is it Todd Bowles' last game he coached for the Bucks? Like, do they just break it down? Do they just tear it all down? Start somewhat fresh or rebuild or repiece some things based on free agency. Like there's a ton of things you could still do with Tampa Bay, but we'll just have to find out. Carolina, they made the postseason. They're kind of just playing with house money at this point. They've been a team that's been up and down all year, but found a way to get into the postseason in this situation. I think that, like you said, Atlanta has a ton of talent. It remains to be seen what else they'll do behind the scenes. We know they're defensively pretty talented. Front seven feels like they finally got their pieces together over the last couple of years, spending these first round picks on pass rushers and their front seven. So now it's pretty much just, I think the offensive line still is decent, just needs to make sure they're healthy for next year. And I do think that this Falcons team definitely can prove something down the stretch into next year. So we'll just find out how everything shakes out. JJ hitting 1,000 yards, Vikings getting the win. It took them 7 weeks, 8 weeks to finally get Jefferson, an official decent receiving line. I don't know, man. The Vikings are somewhat of a mess. Who knows if JJ McCarthy really is the guy? He looked okay, he looked decent in this spot today, but he hadn't been either been healthy or just been the Vikings are just it just hasn't been their year. Similar to another NFC North division team. So the Vikings moving forward, like you said, Brian Flores might be our defensive coordinator, and that could definitely change how the makeup of this team goes. But I mean, I'm hopeful they keep him. But if Brian Flores does leave, I mean, look, him in a situation like taking over, like if he's going to be a DC once again, another spot, like that can be masterful for whoever gets him. But it remains to be seen how that all shakes out. But I'll say this, like, yeah, the Vikings getting a win over the Packers. Packers didn't, they overall, they knew what time it was for themselves. So this is what it is. But kudos to the Vikings getting the win. Kudos to JJ hitting 1,000. It felt like forever for him to get there and have a decent game. Too bad for us that all drafted him in fantasy football this year.
Yep. Only him. It's him, Mike Evans, and Randy Moss are the only players I think to start off their career with. I think it's 6 straight 1,000-yard seasons. So there's that. And then again, man, like I don't care what nobody says, man. As chaotic as things have been for the Vikings, for them to to get out of the season the way that they did, says a lot about Kevin O'Connell. They got to fix the run game. I think Jordan Addison might be up for them as well. Obviously, got to get the QB situation figured out. They got a lot of veterans too, man. So I think it'll be an interesting offseason for the Vikings. But I'm still a fan of Kevin O'Connell. Obviously, still a fan of Justin Jefferson, and still super excited for for the offseason for these guys to see what moves will be made for them.
I agree with that. So we'll just have to see how everything pans out. But I think that, like I said, Brian Flores leaving would be potential bad because it would just be like something else that identity-wise they'd have to figure out. Washington gets the win to close out the year. The Eagles they played all their backups today in a spot where the backups almost got themselves close to, in a situation where they could win, but ultimately lose 24-17. And Eagles now have to play the Niners, and there'll be a little bit more of a so-called tougher road versus what was on paper. So, that's how everything shakes out. So, be interesting to see how when we break it down, how the Eagles and Niners are going to pair up and match up. But for Washington, like if Cliff Kingsbury is out, I wouldn't think that'd be fair. But I think Cliff Kingsbury, I feel like, is just one of those guys that always gets a bad rap, like we talked about earlier today. But anything else to mention?
No.
Cool. Raiders clinched the number 1 overall pick for the draft. So the draft order as that goes: the Raiders, the Jets, the Cardinals, the Titans, the Giants, the Browns. Those are the top 6. And then the Commanders, Saints, Chiefs, Bengals round out the top 10. Raiders, they already clinched the 1 seed after the Giants won earlier today. So that was pretty much a wrap. And they got to win anyway. So it's the Chiefs. So, yeah, the Chiefs, they got a top 10 pick right now, and you're hoping Mahomes gets healthier. But who knows? They might take that 9 pick and just, trade it and get more picks or whatever, depending on how the draft class shapes up.
I can't see them. I can't see them doing that.
Number
Like,
9 pick.
I
Right?
can't. No, I can't see them doing that, man. Like, I think, it was a great opportunity for for them to address a couple of a skill position, notably running back for sure, or even just going BP, best player on the board, man. So I think giving Andy Reid a top 10 pick, still with a relatively a solid nucleus on offense, still maybe they address offensive line. I think there's a couple of directions they can go for sure, but like, oh man, like like it's still way too early. But yeah, Chiefs have a top 10 pick is kind of crazy because definitely did not have that in the cards going into this year.
Nope. Nope. And nope.
No.
Nobody did. And kind of how it goes. Jets just end the season. Happy they got a touchdown late, so it wasn't a shutout. But, the Jets, typical season. But the good news is that, number 2 overall pick, going to have a ton of cap space. It'll be Breece Hall's last. Breece Hall is not a Jet anymore, I bet, after, what all that's happened. So I'll be interested to see where he goes with free agency. Wish him luck. But yeah, look, the Jets are just going to be on a situation where they're constantly in rebuild mode now, and we'll just have to see how everything shakes out for them. But optimistically, a little bit optimistically up. I do like Aaron Glenn. I do think he deserves the opportunity to grow, because most times what happens is when you get a bad franchise, everybody expects you to turn around within 2 years. And if you don't, it's like you're a wrap. It's over. It's it's not exactly fair. But I'll say this: look, there's a lot of things to attack in the offseason that could be wonders for Jets, and let's see how it all goes.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about the Jets, man. It's
perfect.
Yeah, I don't have anything to say about them at all.
Exactly. Ground and pound, and New England. New England officially clinches the number 2 seed overall in the AFC, with a win 38-10 over Miami. Drake made these boys they keep showing out. Stevenson, my goodness, what a cap to the end of the regular season for him. Just absolutely looking like the dog out here. So yeah, I wish he had done that during the regular season a little bit more.
He was money for you if you got in and you had him as a flex player. He was money for you coming down the stretch for sure.
Yeah, he definitely was.
Yeah.
Hunter Henry gets an incentive. Stephon Diggs doesn't. But whatever. Miami, for the other side of Miami, we'll see how it goes for them. QB, it feels like Tua is definitely out of Miami for sure. And then just how else everything shakes out. We'll be interested to see how everything shakes out. But more to come on that later on in the year. Denver officially takes care of business. The AFC's number 1 seed goes to Denver, and everything goes through mile high for the AFC as long as Denver keeps on winning. So gets it done against the Chargers, who didn't have Justin Herbert. They saved him for the playoffs. And Trey Lance was looking like why he's been a backup all this time. But yeah, Denver gets the job done. Not too shocking in this one based on the circumstances. So they get the bye, and then New England will be playing Buffalo. I think they're playing Buffalo for the 6th seed, I think, right now.
No, they're playing the Chargers, 7 seed.
Chargers. Ooh, got it. Yep, that's true. Yep. And that's how it all shapes out. So that should be interesting. Anything to add about New England, Denver, the AFC as a whole?
I just think New England, just kind of one of the things talked about a lot during the offseason was New England has a lot of different identities. And I think they've started to show those identities, those multiple schemes. Josh McDaniels is absolutely crushing the game for sure, schematically. Defensively, I think this matchup is interesting just because of the woes that the Chargers have up front. The Patriots haven't necessarily been world beaters on defense. So this will be really interesting for sure with this game. And then obviously, you got 2 rookie running backs, and we just talked about Ramondre Stevenson and the impact that he's had on this New England run game. So it should be Hunter Henry revenge narrative. There's so many different angles for sure in this space. But the Patriots, man, it's hard to find anything bad about them, bad to say about them at this point for sure. So. And then the Broncos, same difference, man. You kind of knew what to expect in this game. Kind of had a feeling that they were going to come out and just handle business the way that they were supposed to. And they did that here. So no shocks there in that space. So if you want to get the props, man, if you want to go ahead and hit your props before I get to the showdown slate I'm building now. You got none?
No, I do.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, you already have the props. Yeah.
I was gonna let you do showdown now, so you had the time, so you weren't rushing.
Oh no, I'm working on it right now. I'm working
Okay.
on it right now. So yeah. So I'm
All
just
right.
trying to yeah.
Okay. That messes up my plan. I thought you were gonna have I thought I was gonna give you the limelight for that you can have your spot. But okay, if you're not ready, that's cool. Lions in the year with a win. I called this for Detroit winning against Chicago, but it didn't matter because Chicago's in the postseason and Detroit is not. So Chicago officially has the 2 seed, actually. So everything kind of worked out for them in a way, even though they lost this game. Caleb Williams comes the all-time passing yards leader for Chicago. And that being said, I guess that I'm not sure what speaks to that really, but Chicago hasn't, they've had history, but just is what it is. Unfortunately, Caleb couldn't get that 4,000 yard mark. That would have been a little bit more. I think it was like 50 something yards short of that. Actually, no, a little bit further. Actually, he was 156 yards away from being 4,000 today. So, but anyhow, Lions get it done. It was a spot where I think the Lions just wanted something to hang their hats on for the year. I feel they should be in the postseason, but the NFC has best been a dog of a conference this year. So it is what it is. Yeah, Detroit's out, but we have a team like Carolina going to host a playoff game.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it goes. Anything to add about your here we go.
Yeah. No, nothing, man. Again, like division game, playing against a team that should be there. I think we all know the Lions are good enough to be there, for sure. But just because you're good enough to be there doesn't mean you should be there. And I think that's what this is. Talked about them playing spoiler and Dan Campbell having those guys ready to play. Don't necessarily know if it really was spoiler per se. But the Bears obviously got to get back on track, man. I don't know if they peaked at the wrong time or what, but to be continued for sure with those guys. Yeah, it is. It's to be continued, man. CJ Gardner Johnson, man, he also went down to that game too, one of their defenders. So obviously definitely need everything you can have in the secondary for sure. So they got to get that run game going back again, man, for sure. I think that's one of the other pieces. So tonight, just keeping it quick here, man, because we got kickoff in 7 minutes for sure. It's all chips on the table, man. It's Aaron Rodgers or bust tonight. This is what it is. He's been talking a big game in the public for sure about how very rarely has he put together 2 bad games in a row. So I'm going to ride with Aaron Rodgers tonight, man. Don't have no choice but to. And one of the reasons why, I am riding with him is Ravens allowed 121 deep passing yards to the Steelers in Week 14. That was the second most this season. They also allowed 111 yards to the Patriots in Week 16. They've had a combination of a total of 429 deep yards. The Ravens have allowed since Week 14, and that's the most by any team in the NFL. So if that's the case, that's totally screams Aaron Rodgers. A couple of things to take into consideration tonight. Derrick Henry. He's the birthday boy tonight. In his last 2 games on his birthday, he had 34 carries against the Patriots for 182 yards and a touchdown. The next one was last year against the Browns, where he had 20 carries for 138 yards and 2 touchdowns as well. So that's something to take into consideration with Derrick Henry really quick. Steelers defense, they've actually done really great against mobile quarterbacks. They've only allowed 171 rushing yards on QB scrambles, not just QB rushing yards. So that's the 3rd fewest in the league. So Lamar has not played very well. And obviously the Steelers is very simple for them tonight. They've got one of the worst missed tackle rates in the NFL, 3rd highest in the league. And you got Derrick Henry coming into town, so it's scary hours. So Mike Tomlin, 20-16 all time against the Ravens, 6-5 against the Ravens on Sunday Night Football. Let's go.
Yep. Makes sense. To Lamar, not Lamar tonight is my question, The Lamar, not Lamar is the question. It just feels dirty at this point. You just put it in the same sense as Lamar this, Lamar that. I'm like, man, like Lamar, what are you gonna do? It's win or go home, bro. Like it's win or go home, Lamar. But in this matchup, I'm gonna take the Ravens. The Ravens, it just feels like momentum slipping away from the Pittsburgh Steelers. But what I will say is that my heart's saying the Ravens, but my head's saying the Steelers because the Steelers have been immaculate at covering at home under the Mike Tomlin era. So that's something that, I think has to play a factor in this one. I looked at it earlier. No, it's not here. Your Steelers are, I think they're 23-9-2 against the spread at home, Mike Tomlin era.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to let you know something for me. I only looked at the wins and losses because I don't care about the spread tonight because they plus 3.5 dogs.
Yeah.
3.5 dogs. So, spread. Yeah, you can keep the spread, man. You can keep the spread.
Is the spread good?
You can keep the spread tonight.
Is the spread gonna be good at least?
You can keep the spread. You can keep the spread tonight. Y'all can have it.
You keep the spread. It's money line or not. All right.
That's it.
Like I said, heart says the Ravens, so I'm going with the hearts and I'm going with the Ravens. But head staying the Steelers. So either way, look forward to whoever gets out of this situation and moving on to the playoffs. Loser, they going home. So
yeah,
it is what it is. So tonight's prop shop. So we went 8-2 Sunday record. You know what I'm saying? 8-2 in the props today. Feel really good about that. The only thing we really missed was Bijan and Diggs, but it is what it is. Moving on. So Derrick Henry, the birthday boy, 20-plus rush attempts and 80 yards rushing. Like you talked about earlier, in these spots in his birthday, he goes over 100 yards easily in these spots. So Ravens should be feeding him. We all know Lamar is not officially healthy. So he had a full week of practice, but I'm not like still buying it until I have to see it tonight. Like, and that's why I can't put too much money on Lamar's 25-plus rush yards. Hopefully he comes out, like you said, the Steelers have been good at containing rushing QBs. I think Lamar Jackson, 25-plus rushing yards for him. This should be easy for him. So I'm just going to take that to the bank, and we'll see what else unfolds for Lamar tonight. Gainwell, 25-plus receiving yards. Gainwell has been really well. We all know the Steelers are without Metcalf. They're without Darnell Washington. So it will be on some fire move. There will be Adam Thielen as well, and some of these guys here. So Gainwell for 25-plus receiving yards, Thielen over 2.5 catches. Thielen had 4 catches, 49 yards last week, played 43% of snaps last week. I look forward to him having some type of impact in this one where they need veteran efficiency, and I think Rodgers has found a nice little comfort blanket with Thielen. So let's see if I'm right. Rodgers over 200-plus pass yards. Like you said earlier, this is the moment for Aaron Rodgers. He has to come out big, not only for the Steelers to go to the playoffs, but also for incentive. I think he gets a $500,000 if they win because that will get them to the postseason. That was part of his contract incentive. Last but not least, Johnny's favorite boy, Zay Flowers, 60-plus receiving yards. Flowers has done this in 3 of the last 4 matchups in the last 2 years against the Steelers. So that being said, that is the prop shop for the Ravens and the Steelers moment in time. So looking forward to a fantastic end to the regular season.
Yeah, me too. Only ends one way.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Only ends one way.
It only ends one way.
Yeah. If they don't win, then I don't care, and I become a Seattle Seahawks Chicago Bears fan.
I forgot to tell you, I'm playing Valdez-Scantling tonight.
Sure. Listen, I don't care who tonight in a Pittsburgh uniform, as long as they get the job done. Scotty Miller, Calvin Austin, Johnny Smith. Yeah, don't care. Don't care, man. Just get the job done tonight.
Man.
Man.
He's like, who cares? It doesn't matter.
That's it. Don't care.
Oh man, I can't wait.
No, Haywood, man, I'm not cracking one open, man. It's dry January for me, brother. So I'm gonna have a ginger ale. I'm
He said, I'm not cracking one open.
I'm gonna have a ginger ale, man, and call it good tonight, brother.
That is what I'm proud of.
Yeah, ginger ale and chill, man. So have some cheese dip, some chili Cheeto fries, call it good. So all right, man.
Ooh, damn it. Gee whiz, yo.
Hey,
Dang.
what else we got, man? I love you, but it's about kickoff time, brother.
Oh, we out of here.
All right. All right.
We out of here,
All
bro.
right. All right.
No
Let's
final
get
thoughts.
to it.
Good luck to these AFC North teams, all right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh,
And
man.
yeah. So we'll catch y'all next week for sure for super wild card weekend for sure. So be on the lookout for sure with that right there. So in the meantime, in between time, good luck to you. If your team is in, good luck. If not, well, we're gonna help you try to make some money during the playoffs.
Like Johnny said, we out. Peace.